What is up, guys? This is Jagger from QuadHunting, and this is the third installment of the Pistons Weekly that's not weekly. So, last time we left off, the Pistons had gone 7-3, getting some big wins over some teams they needed to. As it's kind of seemed to go, the first one we did, the first time I did a Pistons Weekly, the Pistons at that point were sitting at 6-9. Then they were sitting up a little higher, 13-12. They had churned it around a little bit, looking like the team we were thinking they were gonna be. And then in this one, the bottom fell out. They're 16-12 now, or 16-20 now. So they won 3, lost 8. Won 3, lost 8. So we'll get more into that and all that good stuff in the Pistons Weekly here, so let's do it. So starting off, it was just right off the bat, rolling, we're looking good. We had just beat the Timberwolves 117-90, and then we go home, and we got to face the 76ers. That's a team we should beat. We should win that game, and then we lose in 79-97. Yeah. Against one of the teams that's considered one of the worst in the NBA. Years past they've been considered one of the worst. It's like all of a sudden, next year the Browns come into Foxborough and beat up on the Patriots 42-31. It's kind of the equivalent there. So, well, no, we're not the Patriots. Let me get that clear. Okay, never mind. Forget what I said. It'd be like the Browns going into, I'm trying to think of a mid-level team in the NFL. Browns rolling into Seattle. Let's put it that way. The Browns rolling into Seattle and winning 42-31. Whew, I compared the Pistons to the Patriots. I need to get my head checked. Anyways, then they went on to Dallas to play the Mavericks, who have probably been the worst team in the NBA this year, and won that game 95-85. Okay, maybe maybe that 76ers game was a little bit of a, that was not the trend, that was the, I can't think of the word right now. Anyways, moving on. And then, they go to Washington, lose to the Wizards, lose to the Pacers at home, lose to the Bulls, lose to the Grizzlies, lose to the Warriors. They did beat the Cavaliers without LeBron James. But still, you still beat Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. I think that's something you can kind of hang your hat on there. Then we lost to the Bucks and then the Hawks before we beat the Heat to end out this part of it. Kind of ugly looking, to be honest. Anytime you go 3-8, it's not good. And especially with the scores, the points the Pistons put up in this portion of the season where they lost 8 games: 79, 95, 108, 90, 82, 86, 113, 106, 94, 98, and 107. So a lot of those losses, we were only getting into the 80s. On the 76ers, we didn't even get to 80 points. That's not a good thing. In the NBA, you have to put up points. You're not going to win with 79 points. This isn't college basketball. You have to be able to put up huge points because the other teams are capable of putting up huge points. In the games we won, or some of the games we lost, let me rephrase that. We did put up 113 against the Warriors, but they put up 119. That's kind of what you should expect against a Warriors team. We put up 108 against the Wizards, which sounds nice, but they put up 122. So when we were able to get into that 100-point range, we were still losing because we were able to, the Warriors, the best team in the NBA. Let's not mince words there. But against the Wizards, 122 points, you've got to be able to stop that. When your leading scorer is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with 24 points, it sounds nice, but then you look at the rest of the team, KCP put up almost a quarter of your points. It's not something you really want. So it was, this stretch has been really poor. They haven't been playing well. They're not averaging, low hundreds seems to be their where they're getting their points, if they get into the hundreds. And then their defense, in the games they lost, 105 points, 119 points, 119 points, 98 points, 113 points, 105 points, 122 points, 85 points, and 97 points. when we went back, when I went and talked about in the other Pistons Weeklies, one thing I kept saying is when the Pistons can keep their opponents under 90 points, they most often win, as is the case here. So the defense kind of looks like it's been falling apart, not being able to do things, and that's why Stan Van Gundy has switched up the starting lineup, moved Tobias Harris to the bench as coming off as the sixth man, and put in John Lure. Tobias Harris is still getting 35 minutes a game, so it's not like he's been demoted. But they moved John Lure in as the stretch four, who's more of a big man who can shoot from the outside. Tobias Harris is more of a shooting or small forward that's been pushed into this power forward role. You know, him and Marcus Morris, they're very replaceable there. They're both very similar in their talent, and neither one of their talents is really defense. Lure's really isn't either, but it's just a little bit better. So, I mean, Drummond's still killing it. You're not going to say he's not. He's still killing it. I mean, most of these games I'm seeing he's putting up double-digit rebounds, and he's been killing it as far as points too lately. Just Sunday against the Heat, he put up 25. Only beat out Reggie Jackson. Only beat him out by 2 points, 27 to lead the team. So, you know, they got to get something going here. The defense needs to start slowing them down. Maybe this lineup change is going to be good, and it'll be able to build on it. You know, we're not getting consistent contributions from everyone on the team. It's like one night Caldwell Pope will go off, one night Reggie Jackson will go off. You know, it's kind of they're trying to build it like the 04 Pistons, where you don't really have a superstar to, you know, like a LeBron James or a Kevin Durant or a Stephen Curry. You're doing this with a bunch of guys who are good, but none of them should really be a number one option. I mean, you wouldn't take KCP off of this team and put him on a NBA contendership or a team that's contending for the NBA championship and expect him to be the number one guy. He's a good number 3 or number 4. He's not a number 1, not a number 2 even. I mean, Andre Drummond would be a great number 2 piece for a contending team, but you don't want to rely on him because his free throw shooting is atrocious. I mean, same with everyone else on the starting lineup. None of these guys are legitimate number 1s, which you almost need in the NBA. They're better suited as being, you know, a third or fourth guy, not number 1. As I've been repeating over and over again. As far as stats goes, you know, your point leader is still, if this loads, it is still Tobias Harris, 16.2. He's still killing it. I mean, not killing it, but all of the starters are over 10 points a game, with the lowest being Marcus Morris at 13.1. And even you got a guy, John Lure, putting up 11.2. So you have a good top 6. Also, we have 6 players over double-digit point scoring. So it's very much a team-oriented game with the Pistons. They're not, like I said, there's no number 1 that's going to go off and put up 25 points a game consistently like you see with a James Harden or a Curry or a Durant or a LeBron. It is going to be all these guys. If they can get in double digits, it looks okay. But if they're just, you know, one of them cools off and is not looking good that game, you have to get production out of someone else, which is supposed to be what the Pistons' strength's supposed to be. I mean, if KCP's not going off, Reggie Jackson's could go off. That's the strength. If one guy's weak, there's another guy who can pick up the slack. It's not happening right now, but figure that out later. Your point scorer, your leading point scorer is Tobias Harris with 16 points still. Right below him is Reggie Jackson at 15.3, and then it's KCP at 14.6, Drummond at 14.3, Morris at 13.1. Then going into your rebounds a game, I mean, if you know it's Drummond, 13.5 rebounds a game. Lure is right there behind, not right there behind him. He has got less than half of what Drummond has at 6.2. Tobias is there at 5.2. Baines is there at 4.1. Morris is there at 3.9. And then you have Caldwell Pope, who is leading the guards right now at 3.5, which is kind of, you know, he's been touted more now by Van Gundy the last couple of years as a really high tenacity. He goes after the rebounds. He's a guard who fights for them. I am just falling on my words today. Assist-wise, Ish Smith still leads the team as Reggie Jackson's getting back into it at 5.5. Jackson's got 5.2, so it's not very far difference. Beno Yedero is still there at 3.3, and then Caldwell Pope sitting there at 3 as well. Ball movement could be seen as weakness for the Pistons. You know, guys don't usually go off assist-wise for the team. We're only averaging 20 assists a game. When you got a guy like Chris Paul who can put up 11, Westbrook putting up 11, they get half of our total with one player, so they only need 9 from everyone else to match the Pistons total. So ball movement, scoring-wise, is a weakness. The passes to score are our weakness right now. Steal-wise, Drummond leads. Caldwell's right behind him at 1.3, and there's nothing really else significant to talk about. Not even averaging 1. So, and then we got our turnovers a game, led by Reggie Jackson at 2.5. Like I said, he's getting back into it, getting adjusted to the team again. So, nothing too concerning. He's doubling his assists, double his turnovers, so that's good. But beyond that, behind him is Drummond at 2.1, and kind of expected when a guy who gets the ball in his hands as much as he does, especially being a big man, turns it over that much. Field goal wise, Drummond leads the team at 53. Lure then is right behind him at 50. Tobias is 47.5. Baines at 47. Yedero at 46. And then the next starter is Reggie Jackson at 42.4. Right behind him is Caldwell Pope at 42.3. I'd like to see Caldwell Pope's, kind of flirt more with the 47. 42 is nothing to scoff at. I mean, he's pretty. His shooting is his touch is getting more consistent. But as far as 3-point wise goes, I mean, it's not pretty. Dang, as I'm saying, Caldwell Pope's not pretty at 3-point. He's shooting 39.2%. That's almost 40%. That's actually pretty well. That's pretty good. I mean, what the line is, you want a 50, 40, 90, 50 on field goals, 40 on 3-point, and 90 on. I mean, Caldwell Pope's getting that 40% right there at threes almost, and Yedero right there behind him at 39. The 3-point shooting does not seem to be a terrible weakness for us. I mean, sometimes it might just not be consistent enough. I'd like to see Lures go up. He's only at 31.8, but I'm not seeing anyone besides Stanley Johnson whose shooting line is concerning. But I mean, he's not getting really consistent anything. He's only averaging 3.6 points a game, 35.9% shooting, 26.1% 3-point, and 63.3% free throw. So that's kind of concerning seeing that. You're seeing him, he got moved down to the D League there for a little bit and then got brought back up. But, that's a little concerning when the guy you're hoping to build on for the future, numbers look like that. But field goal wise, or free throw wise, we have 2 players in the 90s. Tobias Harris and Yedero are both in the, with Yedero leading at 91.7, and then Harris leading at right behind him at 90. Lewis sitting behind him at 89. Baines at 89. Jackson at 87. Contavious Caldwell Pope at 82. Morris at 79. I mean, the only one that I'm really still concerned about is Drummond shooting 44. So, at least it's a little higher than his 30-something percent he was shooting last year, but they need to fix that. That's still something I really hope he can fix, because he fixes that, he's a dominant center. He's one of the best in the NBA. With there's been an injury update with Aaron Baines, kind of went down with an ankle. It doesn't sound like it's going to be anything too concerning. I mean, maybe he's questionable for the Pacers, but that might be a little bit more of a look at Bobbin, see how well he can play in his absence, see if he can, because he's supposed to be our backup center next year, with Baines predictably leaving for free agency, seeing as he could probably he's going to get a payday. The Pistons just can't afford to keep him. It's just that kind of thing. So, Bobbin, this is going to be his kind of tryout to see how well he'll be able to back up Drummond. But as far as the team goes, where's the totals? Never mind. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just kind of free balling this, and I'm just throwing it up. But they got coming up next. They have the Pacers. Then a couple days later, they have the Hornets. And then the Trailblazers, the Kings, and then they have the Warriors again, and this time out in California. They're hitting their West Coast trip, it looks like, with being out in Portland and then going down to Sacramento, Oakland, Salt Lake City, Los Angeles, and then they'll be back to Detroit on January 18th. So they're hitting their West Coast Western Conference road trip. They always do a couple times a year. But yeah, you have the Lakers, you have the Jazz, the Warriors, the Kings, and the Trailblazers. There are 5 Western teams in a matter of 8 days. So it's going to be a busy time. They got to get some of those wins. I mean, Portland is a good team. You know, who knows with the Kings. The Warriors are one of the best teams in the NBA. The Jazz, and then the Lakers. Those are all, I mean, they're all away games. You can lose any one of them. They need to get some wins. They need to get the win streak going here, starting with the Pacers tonight. I'm recording this on Tuesday, so you need to get that win. And then Thursday, you need to get that win against the Hornets. So right now, they're sitting at 16-20. They need to get, if they want to make the playoffs, they need to start making a run. 36 games into the 82 game season? Yeah, 82 game season. So they're almost halfway through the season. They need to start picking up some wins and looking better going into the All-Star break, so that way you don't have to rush and try to make it as the 8th seed to lose to the Cavaliers again this year. So if you liked the video, leave a like, favorite, all that fun stuff. Leave some comments, and I will see you guys all next time for the Pistons Weekly. That will not be out in a week, but it will be out sometime. I'm just going to use the Pistons Weekly name just because I can. So see y'all later.